Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Damien Cross at DC_F1 on Twitter, and welcome to ZoomZoomers. I see people in the waiting room already, so I'll just get those on here now. And apologies for any language that you might hear, but I'm sure they're all going to be very well behaved. They're used to this by now. I can see a few people popping up already. Hopefully you guys can hear me. If you can't, it's probably something on my end, so just let me know.
I can hear you.
You can hear me. Thanks, Alan. How is everybody? All right?
Alive.
Good.
Craig, I've seen your message on Twitter, and it's great to have you along because I know you've been a very busy boy. But it's been really good to see you. Well, so many of you coming along here. We've got some guests as well. We'll come on to that in just a moment. I'm just going to let a few more people in. I'm sure people will be joining as we go along. And then, well, actually, I might as well just get the some introductions done. So I'm going to start with how it looks on my screen. So apologies if it's not the same for people viewing. We're going to start with Alan. If I can take your name and your Twitter handle, please, Alan.
Hi, I'm Alan Bradley. I am one of the presenters of the Motoring Podcast, and my Twitter handle is at AJP Bradley. That's BRADLEY. It's just right there.
Thanks, Alan. Near.
Hi, it feels like a while since we've been together, actually. Don't know why,
Yeah.
but Near Khan, I'm a vehicle designer. It's at Near_Khan, KAHN. I can also spell my surname, Alan.
People get upset if I don't. It's quite weird. Never mind.
Yeah, it's been a 5-week gap since the last Zoomers, and I think it's probably the longest it's ever been between broadcasts. So it's perhaps why it seems like it's been a while. So Craig, can take your name and your Twitter handle, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm Craig Willard. I'm not even going to attempt to spell out my last name today because I'm so tired. But I'm at Craig_Willard on the Twitter, and it's been a while since I've been here. Like, must have been
Have you missed a few?
several months for sure.
Yeah, we had a run of you doing the kind of the final word of the broadcast, the fact of the week or the fact of the month, as it turned out to me. But we've missed those. I might put you on the spot now to get you to think of one. But yeah, don't worry if you fall asleep halfway through. That's completely understandable. We'll come back to you on that in a little while. Chris, can I take your name and your Twitter handle, please?
Hi everyone, Chris Hughes. Twitter handle is at Chris H Drives. I'm the Peugeot Sport Club marketing and PR coordinator, amongst many other things. General automotive dog's body for hire.
Good to hear. Good to hear. A new house as well, with plenty of parking for cars outside, but not a big garage. Is that what I'm kind of getting from that?
That's it. There will be a garage.
Right.
There will be a garage. But at the moment, and I'm drinking Old Speckled Hen because we've got some chickens now as well.
Ah, nice one. My wife wants chickens, but we've also got a dog and cats, and I can't imagine it's going to be a good combo. So we're just kind of ignoring that. Right. Who's got chickens? Sorry.
No, we used to.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So you haven't still got them then?
No.
Was it at the house you're in now? Or?
No, the old house, and it was more hassle to move them than move us.
Fair enough. Did they all have individual names, or were they just the chickens?
Yeah. They weren't going to at first, but they did.
My we had them when I was younger. My little sister, who's quite a bit younger than me, decided that she wanted to call one Kentucky because she had made the correlation between that was chicken and this was a chicken, but still hadn't figured out that was the same type of chicken. They weren't just the same words; it was the same thing. So we had a chicken called Kentucky. Cool. Richard, can I take your name and your Twitter handle while we're chatting?
Yeah, I'm Richard Gooding. My Twitter handle is at richgooding.com. I'm a freelance managing writer and graphic designer and publishing monkey, I suppose.
Indeed. Thanks for that, Richard. Joe.
Joe Tanner. I won't spell the last name because it should be obvious. At Stuff About Cars, and I do spreadsheets and numbers for Stellantis.
Nice one. Thanks for that, Joe. Ben, nice to have you back. How you doing?
Stuck on mute, but yeah, I'm good. Hello, everyone.
In bed with Ben.
Happy Easter to all, obviously, first. So, my Twitter handle is at Ben SV Hodges, and I'm a motoring writer who is currently deputy editor of carbuyer.co.uk.
Excellent. Well remembered, Ben. Ian.
Hi, Ian Cook from Pop and Colour, artist and creative, and looking forward to getting haircuts next week. This is getting very long now, very, very long. So,
yeah, apart from Chris, I guess most of us are getting a bit of longer hair. Seems like his hairstyle's quite manageable. The rest of us, I think, are waiting for the things to open. There is a red-green question on that later on, so we'll save that for now. LA.
Wait, I'm on mute. Hi, yeah, I'm LA Wilshire, and my Twitter handle is @1_LA.
Excellent. Thanks, LA. Thank you. And the eagle-eyed amongst you will realise we have a new person, a new face here. So I'd like to welcome Bradley Carr along. Brad, I'm not sure if you've got a Twitter account, or maybe Somerset Car Club has a Twitter account, but if you could just give us a bit of an introduction.
Yeah, sure. I'm brand new to Twitter, so I've set one up for the club, and I'm not sure whether someone's stolen our Twitter name or not, but we definitely couldn't get our name. So we are SCC Private Club. The club's full name is SCC Private Members. I don't know if it was a link thing or someone had stolen SCC Private Members, but we are SCC Private Club with 14 followers. So if anybody wants to join us and see if we can double the followers tonight, that'd be incredible.
We can smash that. I'm sure we can smash it.
Yeah, please. Somerset Car Club was the club I started a year yesterday. A year yesterday, the 4th of April. I don't have anything to do with Somerset Car Club anymore. That's been moved on to another local sort of car club. The concept was I work for Formula One from their experiences team, and I oversaw sort of supercar driving trips, which was the official endorsed driving trip of Formula One. So you can go to the f1.com website and book it. But obviously we all know what happened to F1 last year. So I got put in furlough with all of my colleagues. Wanted to keep my brain active and trying to find some supercar owners. So I live in Somerset, so I thought let's start a car club. Let's start with the very first obvious one, Somerset Car Club. It didn't exist, so that wasn't too difficult. And so created a car club, and we got to about 1,000 car enthusiasts and car owners really, really quickly. I think it was just perfect timing from lockdown, and everybody was on social media. And then sort of a spin-off off the back of that, we created like a private group for supercar owners, or sports and supercar owners, and hypercar owners. And it was called Somerset Car Club Private Members. But we were having people that were messaging me privately saying, "Is there any chance that we could join, this private members group? But I live in London, or I live in Birmingham or Yorkshire or Essex or whatever." He said, "It sounds pretty cool. People are talking about it." So we decided just to drop Somerset Car Club and just call it SCC Private Members. So we were then running what was called Somerset Car Club, which was all cars, any car was allowed, American cars, stuff like S3s and anything that anyone with a passion for cars, effectively, no matter what they owned. And then I had this sort of private collection of sports and supercar owners with her, which had a qualifying car list to join. And we were doing both. And I'm, I'll hold my hands up. My background is sort of supercars anyway, and that's sort of my specialty, and that's what I understood. But if I was to put a meet for 200 normal cars on, I generally wouldn't know what to do. So there's a well-established local car club in a neighbouring county, and I said, "Look, would you like to expand?" And effectively they said, "Yes, please." And that's where that happened. So we made the split between Somerset Car Club and SCC Private Members. On our website, this story I've just told sort of backs that up. But yeah, the yellow on the logos from the flag of Somerset. SCC did stand for Somerset Car Club, and yeah, that's and the story goes on and on and on. But I could probably chat for the next hour about that. But if you have any questions or anything, by all means. But and where we are now, we've got paying memberships. We started selling memberships for SCC Private Members November last year. I think we've sold about 250 memberships so far. We've got paying sponsors, so the members benefit from, finance companies, insurance companies, and anything sort of automotive related, which I've sort of carefully picked. And then just sort of line up a really cool events, and our brand ambassador, Dr. Andy Palmer, the former CEO of Aston Martin. So he's our official ambassador for the club now. So really proud to have his association, and we're with him next month at one of our events. So that'll be the first event he's come as our sort of official ambassador to, along with some other sort of well-known motoring faces that tend to join. And Petrol Ped, I'm not sure if he's joined yet, but he'll be joining us at some point.
Yeah, hopefully.
I believe he can't make it. He's just driven back from his place down here in Cornwall that he rents out, and he's had to drive home. And I think he literally just got back, so I don't think he's going to join us. He might not. We'll see.
The invitation's there for him. If he pops along, we'll rope him in, but not to worry, because there's plenty there, Bradley, that we can cover. I was going to pretend that after all that you'd been on mute for the whole thing, and could you repeat it? But I'm not going to do that for you. So what's
there's the first thing I checked, because I've had some even Ped failed at one of our events that we had online, and I just panic, and you don't know what to say, do you? Because you're like, you can't wave because there's 100 other people on the screen watching, and it's this, that, all panic. So yeah, if you did that, that'd been pretty cruel, to be honest.
I am quite cruel, but I'll let you off. So what's planned then for lockdown's starting to ease here in the UK. So what's on the horizon? Actual physical events where people can actually come, bring their cars, and that kind of thing. Yeah.
So we are a private members club. So the majority of event is totally private. So we even the members have access to it, like an online portal which they can log into, read. We've got 51, 52 events on this portal that members can book into, and they can just register for an event. But we also do have some public events as well, which are sort of we're at Supercar Sunday at Bewley. Supercar weekend, we're there on the Sunday. We're actually a feature of the Yorkshire Motorsport Festival in June. So we're actually going to be a little bit away from the car club's paddocks into, and no pressure on the club, but we've got to put on a really, really good display to get an invite pack for next year. And then, our biggest club honour really is Salon Privé. So we got invited last year. The club was even 6 months old, and the founder called me and said, would you come along to Salon Privé? And firstly, I thought someone's pretending to be the founder, aren't they? Because surely we're not even 6 months old yet. So, then to be there with the likes of, Supercar Driver or Four Marks and Drivers Union, the UK's sort of biggest established car clubs. And then there was us, the new boys, at the end of the line, trying to, make a name for ourselves. And we put on a spectacular display, and I deliberately put the front line as something very, very eye-catching. So I basically lined up. I don't know if you can see this picture behind me. We had a McLaren Senna as our centerpiece. Then we had these green. We had GT3 RS, Aventador SVJ, Huracan Performante, Aston Martin GT12. All of these cars in this sort of as close to Verdi Mantis as possible, and some of them were. The Aston Martin was actually in Lamborghini's Verdi Mantis. So I'm not quite sure how they got that one signed off at production, but the whole lineup was so we had a green row. The two ends were sky blue, so we had a 720S and a Performante in virtually the same color on the end, and in the middle the Union Jack colors, red, white, blue, which was two Pistas and a Senna. So the lineup was just eye-catching. It was quite proud because we were walking around Salon Privé. I was with one of my colleagues, and there was people saying, "Have you seen the Green Supercar Club?" Out in the club paddock, and we heard those whispers, and people coming up to us says everyone's talking about it. So, and then people who've been to Salon Privé and went on the club day. All I need to say is there was a row of green supercars. Yeah, I remember you. So watch this space for 2021 Salon Privé. What can I come up with next? But I'm really excited to go back to there.
I bet.
Yeah,
you sound incredibly excited. So we've established you've got a Twitter account which is fresh, and I'm sure people will follow that. But I'm guessing you run other places on social media, Instagram, Facebook, that kind of thing as well. Where can people find out more information about what's going on for you guys?
Yeah, sure. So our main one that seems to be working the best for us, everything originally was private. So we grew that really, really well. And then, for example, our private group on Facebook now is 1,300. sport, pre-qualified sports and supercar owners. So it's, everyone that we physically let into that group owns a qualifying car, and which is incredible. But public stuff, we have a Facebook page called SCC Team, which is pretty much tied to our public Instagram. So Instagram seems to be the one for us. So that's SCC private members. That's really easy. So I either of those, and that's kind of, we have to blank out number plates and keep things as sharp and as secretive as we can, I suppose. But that's the aim with our. It's really difficult because I've set up as a private members club, and it's trying to get that really careful balance of not putting my private members in the limelight, because if people are joining off the back of the fact that it's a private members club, so it is really tough. I'm sure we've done stuff that have annoyed people, which there's no intention of doing that, because obviously I don't physically know what's inside everyone's of our members' heads, but we do our very, very best. The team's pretty good. They blank out number plates, put SEC templates on top of it. But yeah, we're trying to sort of promote the club. Obviously, the Yorkshire Motorsport Festival, I think they've got about 10,000 followers on Instagram already, and I think they've just set up their accounts. They've actually been broadcasting the fact that we're there as a main feature. We're a main feature on their website as well. So that's an amazing honour. Yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, being a private members club, but also trying to grow awareness through the right channels. We were approached by Top Gear magazine to have a piece in there. So we're just working on whether we can get something to work through that as well at the moment.
Oh, you're doing incredibly well for someone so new and fresh on the scene. But I think a lot of people have realised that you've got to be in it to win it, and getting started is the only way of actually getting stuff done. And a lot of people here, I guess, have all felt like they're kind of the new guys at some point, but kind of made it. So yeah, congratulations on how it's going. We'll keep an eye on all the social channels, and we'll come back to you in a little bit to do a regular feature we have for our guests here called Track Day Own or Scrap. But before we do that, I'm just going to run around and just see what the guys have been up to, because I know, Ian, you've got some exciting stuff. You've got a new vehicle, reasonably new vehicle. Your book's pretty much ready to go, and you've also been painting your Chevette.
Yes, Chevette. That's exciting. Yeah, so a number of things. Yeah, so obviously with the 12th and reopening, so the non-essential retail, so the studio has been shut since Christmas. So been working from home, and that's where converting the car into a mobile studio has really paid off. So that's been really, really good. So we're now up to 864 drawings, I think. And there's been some really nice ones. So I did, I get on well with Frozen Speed. So Jochen, who shoots at the Nürburgring, and when, I did a memorial piece in memory of, which was really nice. So did that, and then yes, we've got the Yaris as well, which has been supplied by Listers. So doing that, and then the van is coming online as well. So hopefully, got the van coming from Listers as well, and that will be the mobile shop. The mobile shop. So we've got the draw in one car and have the shop have the van as the mobile shop. And the Chevette is now at Vital, who build concept cars, and they do a lot of show cars. So they're a company that you wouldn't know of because all their stuff's in the NDA, so they can't normally talk about it.
Yeah.
So I kind of posted about it on Instagram, and then Andy at Vital was like, "We can do that," and I was like, "Okay, that's cool." And then I did a little April Fool's last week, which I thought was an April Fool's, but actually it looks really good.
Yeah, this is the mock-up of the car, isn't it?
Yeah, the mock-up with the paint splat. And the thing is, I did it, and I was like, ha, ha. And I did the edit, and I was like, oh, that looks really good. And everybody who I rang on that day literally went, Ian, that is a thing, isn't it? That isn't a lie. You are going to do your car like that. And I was like, yeah, maybe. So
I think it's been a few April Fools that people have gone, oh, that's a good idea. I think the European Rally Championship put a mock-up of a little electric rally car.
I'm going to tell you about the one that Mrs. did. So I was in bed, and she got up and went upstairs, and because new house is the wrong way around. Bedrooms downstairs, kitchen, dining room upstairs. So I was in bed, and she goes, she sends me a text message saying, "Chris, quickly get up, come and watch the news. Caterham have gone bust." And it's on BBC Breakfast News. I'm like, what? Quickly, like, chucking something on, run upstairs. And she just looks at me and goes, "April Fools, the baby needs changing."
Oh, she knows you too well. She knows you too well. She'll perhaps get you the same one again next year. Oh,
and then
dear.
the following day, Caterham is announced that they have been bought by Japanese firm, and it wasn't that far from the truth.
No, there's often a little bit of truth in these things, isn't there? Yeah. Actually, talking about April Fools, we've got to cover Volkswagen in the USA. Richard, I mean, you're a bit of an EV. Your fingers on the pulse of that kind of thing. How did you think that went? The
EV
the change.
And Volkswagen. Well, at first I couldn't believe it, but more and more people were reporting it was going to be done. And as the day wore on, I said to my other half, I said, with the ID4 now launching in the US, what about if it's some elaborate marketing thing? But as Alan will no doubt say too, we had because Alan and I actually met up last Wednesday, and we did talk about this, and I think we were saying that a lot of people in the business press certainly were spitting feathers because they'd been made to look stupid. Because first it was real, it was denied it was an April Fool's, then it turned out it wasn't April Fool's, but it went out early, and it was just a complete mess. I'm not sure what the situation was between America and Germany. I know Germany's been very quiet on it, so I think it was just the American arm, but I'm not sure if anyone's been sacked over it or whatever. But I didn't think it was handled particularly well.
No, I heard that the shares kind of took a bit of a hit and that kind of thing, and everyone started kind of talking about emission scandals and that kind of thing again. So it didn't really do too well. But it was the whole thing about coming out a couple of days early, and then everybody that I asked, who was in my eyes a credible source, said, "Yeah, I think this is real," and I think that's the only thing. There wasn't ever anyone kind of going, "No, just pretend it's real." It's just a thing. Everyone was kind of going, "No, it's real." So I mean, Alan, what have you got to add to that?
I don't know. It just smelt bad from the start. There was just something about it that my spidey sense was saying, this just isn't right. There's just something not right here. And so we didn't. Yeah, I wasn't surprised when the story unfolded, as Richard just said, because there was just something unbelievable about it right from the very start.
I mean, I think we said on Wednesday that it's the kind of joke that everyone made about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even that funny.
Yeah. Wasn't their joke.
They've done it before as well. They've done it before because they changed when the Mark V Golf came out. They changed all the signs in Wolfsburg to Golfsburg for April Fools, and they genuinely covered up all the signs in the town with Golfsburg. You could go there, visit, and every single sign had been changed to Golfsburg. I know because I was there when it happened, when they did it. But then obviously that was an April Fool's, and they peeled it all off, and it was all okay again. But that happened on April the 1st, whereas this was just so weird that it had come out early.
Yeah,
somebody messed up massively.
I think there might have been a leak, and then they had to kind of quickly run it. Well, the decision was that they should quickly run it because it was getting out there. But then it was the denial that this was an April Fool's. Because I think the accepted thing is, if people call you out on April Fool's, you kind of just grin at them and go, "Is it?"
Well, that was
rather than go, "No, it's not. It's not."
It was a lot of the business press who maybe don't often deal with automotive PRs in that kind of way and stuff, who were then, and it became a he said, she said type setup.
Yeah.
And you didn't actually know what had been said, what they'd asked, how the response had been given, because that can, You know what it's like when you ask you know from the other side, Damien, but you know when you ask a PR something and you know that they can't give you the honest answer, and there's a sort of nudge, wink. Well, you know that might be what you think, and it's not an answer, and you know it's not an answer, but it's also the answer.
Yeah,
I know that sounds ridiculous, but I just wonder if American business press didn't necessarily pick up on that. But yeah. But it just wasn't right. There was just something wrong about it, but from the start. But
from what I gather with the American side, like the Volkswagen PRs were like, oh no, it's not. They were like really serious about it not being it. So that's what they then got annoyed that they really went with it, and they feel that they've been duped somehow. And I think then that rolls into the whole Dieselgate, etc., and not trusting and blah blah blah.
I read one response article from The Verge actually, and it was paragraph 6 before they mentioned Hitler. You know, and it is one of those ones of ooh, okay, you're quite angry, aren't you?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, the tweet that I saw from the guy who wrote it, who then put a link to that article, you could tell by his tweet he was really angry, angry.
Off the deep end, that one. And there was yeah. But
so Joe, I mean,
it wasn't very well done.
What would you say was missing then? Because I think with April Fools there has to be some element of you can figure it out. And did this go a bit too far then, do you think? Or?
It was missing all the ingredients of an April Fool's. It was on the wrong day.
Everything was wrong.
Believable, and it didn't have something obvious in the story that made it an April Fool. Normally they quote a spokesperson. The spokesperson's got a name that if you say it out loud, it sounds, like something funny. And it was just missing all of those bits. And then, the PRs all doubled down on it. And that's all the wrong things to do for an April Fool's.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see. They've learned a few lessons over the years, and we'll see if this is one that they've kind of chalked up. Sorry, Alan.
But I was going to say that you'll notice that no other VW group part did any April Fools at all.
Right.
Absolutely.
Do you think they perhaps had some ready, but then decided?
I would imagine that an order went out, and it was look, just don't, please, just don't.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they do next year. Whether they go for
Probably
it again.
never again. Never again.
Never again. No, it's not worth the risk.
We were mostly, as a result, we were mostly spared them this year. There was one from Dacia. Dacia did a good one, which got other company. I saw PRs of other companies go, that's really good. We talked about doing that before, but we never did it. And
what
really
was that one, Alan? Sorry, I've missed that one.
Oh, they sent one of the new Dacia. So the Dacia Sandero, the latest Dacia Sandero has just been launched, which I'm sure will be joining Bradley's club before very long. But so it's just been launched, and they attached it to a balloon on a model of one.
Oh no, I did see
platform,
it. Yeah.
And had the photo of the whole globe with a Dacia Sandero in the front. And they were saying they'd launched the new Dacia Sandero into space in some sort of Tesla parody.
Nice.
It was nicely done. And somebody else went for the old Instagram window tints as well,
right?
Which was done by Mini a few years ago.
I'm wondering if any other car companies pulled their April Fool's gags at the last minute because they sensed that nobody was in the mood for it.
Suspicion.
Because there were. I also don't think there were as many as they usually are. It's like Volkswagen managed to kill diesel by kind of cheating a little bit. Maybe they've killed April Fool's Day by cheating that a little.
Did anybody get the Porsche April Fools, the rat rod?
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that as well.
I thought it's going to sell. People will want that.
Yeah, I did believe it. Yeah, I fell for that one. So that was Robin Sharp, one of our members, that sent me that, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. I can't believe anyone would do this, but maybe you've had some orders since.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it looked like a cool. I think I've seen modern 911s that have been made to look like they're rust buckets, and
I've seen the Le Mans wrap, Le Mans wrap, where it looks like it's done 24 hours Le Mans, covered in brake dust and bits of rubber and stuff, but it's all just a vinyl wrap that you could peel off, and that looks really cool.
That looks really cool. It does look cool.
If it's done well, those look fantastic, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. What sort of leads us a little bit on to motorsport. Since we've got LA and Craig here, let's talk a little bit about the start of the Formula One season, if that's okay with you. Or Formula One and Formula Two, and that kind of thing. Now, LA, I've lost my way a little bit with Formula Two because the guys that I kind of looked out for, Callum Ilott, Mick Schumacher, aren't there anymore. So what's going on in the world of Formula Two right now?
Yeah, there have been a few disappearances, kind of unfortunately for us, but fortunate for them. So we had a fantastic weekend last weekend at Bahrain for the first Grand Prix of the season. Well, not Grand Prix, but first races of the season. Brand new format in Formula 2, and they've shuffled things around a little bit, which I actually prefer. They used to have a longer feature race on the Saturday and a shorter sprint race on the Sunday, and they've switched that around. They've put the short sprint race on a Saturday, and they've actually created two. One earlier on, one a bit later, and then all the feature races on the Sunday now, which kind of makes a bit more sense because it's for me, I've been a Formula One fan for over 4 decades, and that's race day. Sunday is race day, so it now feels already a lot more natural to have that longer, more points anyway for that feature race. There always has been, so the drivers get a longer race and probably a bit more attention, deservedly, for that feature race. So it's been really great because last year we had sort of the year of the rookie. There were so many rookies that came up and so many amazing drivers that came up. But they were all on an equal footing last season because they introduced those new 18 rims and the tyres. So it kind of put everybody on an equal footing to get used to that car and used to the handling of the car. It's why the rookies probably did so well as the fact that they're great drivers. But this season, the people that have stayed behind obviously have that little bit more of an advantage now on those 18-inch rims, brand new rookies. So you kind of go into the season thinking, oh, well, they've not got an advantage anymore. They might not do as well. But hey, we've just had two rookies win the first two sprint races of Liam Lawson and Piastri, Oscar Piastri, who won the championship in Formula 3. So sorry, a lot of information going through my head and I'm really tired and I've had a really long day. So
that's okay.
Trying to remember everything. But
and so there are more races on a weekend when Formula 2 is present, but they're not going to be there at every race because I think they're kind of chopping and changing with F3. Have I made that? Is that right? Or is that coming in later, or have I just completely made that up? Craig's nodding at me. So
Craig could probably explain it a little bit better than me if I'm stumbling and stuttering. But they have separated Formula 2 and Formula 3 now, so they are on different weekends. And the Formula 3, the girls are joining Formula 3, the W Series, so that's really exciting to give the girls a bigger platform and a bigger worldwide audience. But it's kind of a bit sad and a bit of a shame to separate the 2 and the 3 formulas. But then they're sticking with the Formula, everyone's with the Formula 1 guys now, so gives everyone an equal chance. But yeah, I mean, no, they're sticking to the races. They're sticking to the 2 on the Saturday and the 1 on the Sunday. That's going to be throughout the season, and it's probably a little bit of a preliminary idea as well for Formula 1. Because they're going to, and Craig hopefully can explain this a bit more. They're going to be introducing this kind of a similar format as a trial for Formula 1. So they probably switched F2 as well, just to come in a little bit more of alignment with Formula 1 as well. So go on, Craig, the floor's yours because you can say it better than me.
So Formula 1 that started this weekend, but it was revealed, I think it was on the Friday, that they're going to be trialing sprint races on the Saturday now. These have been proposed for a couple of years now when they wanted to do like totally flipped grids and all that sort of stuff, but they've gone about it a really sort of half-assed way, and they're going to have qualifying now on the Friday for a couple of rounds. So it's Monza, Silverstone, and one other. I think it's Sochi or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's 3 rounds they're going to trial it at. So they're going to have qualifying on the Friday now after FP1 or whatever it is. And they're going to have that set the grid for the sprint race on the Saturday. And then that will set the grid for the Grand Prix on the Sunday.
Right.
Which
You
is
sure it's not an April Fool's?
I kind of hoped it was, but it was not, sadly. And I think as the Grand Prix proved at the weekend, you don't need sprint races to spice things up and to provide a little bit of drama. I mean, how often do you get a season opener that goes right down to the final lap of the race? I thought it was an absolutely brilliant battle between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen all the way through. Helmut Marko did say in an interview with Motorsport that Verstappen was probably losing about 0.3 of a lap due to a differential problem, but I don't quite buy it that much. But yeah, it's clear that Verstappen was having some sort of minor car issue throughout that race. So Red Bull is certainly on the strong side at the start of the season, and we've got a long way of the season still to go. I mean, there's still 22 races, hopefully. So
that's huge. I mean, I remember, when I started getting into Formula One, there'd be 12 races in a season, and that was fine. And now it's just crept up and up and up, and it's just insane now. So with the F3 and the W Series, then, so they're going to be on the weekends when Formula 2 is not present. Is that right?
Yeah, mostly. Basically, Formula 2 is on 8 of the weekends. Formula 3 is on 7 of the weekends. So that means that those championships get a couple of flyaway rounds as well, which will be fun for them. That adds a little bit to the cost as well, because obviously it's international travel. So that's something that the teams aren't too happy about, for sure. And W Series is sort of dotted around the place as well.
I think, though, that a lot of us that are F2 fans are incredibly excited, have been excited this weekend for Juan Manuel Correa to have made his return in the testing that's been going on. I don't know, I don't know if you know his story, and I won't go greatly into his story, but, look him up and look up, what's happened to him since 2019. And you just can't believe the fight back this guy has made. And, he's come into this car now, and he's doing incredibly, and it warms your heart, it really does. And to think that the lower formulas might be somehow lower or not as exciting, or not as dangerous as Formula One is, you're absolutely wrong, completely wrong. They're just as exciting. These cars are all equal, so it comes down to the drivers at the end of the day. And and that's what a lot of Formula One fans crave sometimes. They don't necessarily want all right, great drivers in a great machine winning every single race every time. So why don't you watch the series where you're just looking at great drivers then? Come to Formula 2, come to Formula 3. And I've got to bang out a little bit of an advert for myself, is that that's part of what we do. But come along to Inside F2, and see what we're doing every race weekend now, because since last year, since it began a year ago, we have put in so much work and so much effort to become established and to become recognized and to become just a little bit of a name that people are starting to notice. And and that is through absolute hard work and dedication from the small few that were in it last year. And we've grown our team now, and we're doing podcasts now. The live race blogging started last season, and that's continuing. And I'm hoping to sort of kickstart a bit of a YouTube, sort of interviewing kind of thing that hopefully will come off. So, come along and join us and see what we're doing. And, it'd be great for you all to get an interest in Formula 2 if you don't already have one.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely be using Inside F2 to get our news. It's where I go to get my news, and I usually just ask you, so it's the easiest way. But in terms of giving a better platform for women to show their skills, did you guys catch any of the Extreme E rallycross events? So there's a few nods.
Yep, very much.
So if you haven't seen it yet, then a car is shared by 2 drivers in a team. One is man and one's female, so it's going to be really interesting to see how that develops. So Craig, you saw it. How did you think that went?
I thought it was looking absolutely brilliant until they started racing. The racing was a little bit of a damp squib, if you will, because they realised that cars don't tend to react too well to sand, and it tends to block your vision. So
You can't see a thing.
yeah, so even
pretty inevitable, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was watching qualifying. Wasn't really quite sure what the format was going to be. And I was watching qualifying. I was like, the qualifying was interesting, but a little bit slow. The coverage was a bit slow. I was like, it needs a bit more. The coverage needs a bit more pace.
Yeah.
And then they were explaining that in the race, it's going to be 3 cars on track at the same time. And straight away, I was like, well, whoever's in front is just going to pull away, because whoever's behind them needs to leave about half a kilometre, or they're not going to see anything. And if they don't leave half a kilometre, they're going to crash.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what
which
happened.
they did.
That's exactly what happened.
2 of them.
It has a huge amount of potential. I love Formula E. I like electric racing. I love off-road racing and rally raids and all that kind of stuff. It's got a huge amount of potential, and I think it needs a little bit of honing to make it into something that's must see. I talked to a few people at the weekend, and it was a little bit kind of casual viewing, kind of like you're all too young, but like Kickstart used to be on a Saturday afternoon, where scrambler bikes and that kind of stuff. The kind of thing you switch on a lazy afternoon and you watch it a bit, and it's like, let's see how the next one goes down this dip. It was a little bit too casual to be the kind of thing that you were going to get into and really care about who wins the next race. But it has potential. I think they know what they need to hone and get right, because the racing, if it wasn't for the dust clouds, the racing would have been very brilliant.
Well, it's not always going to be in a desert, of course, and we've seen with things like the Andros Trophy. It's been you can race on ice, and it seems to work.
Do they have other?
There's no track limits. Like that whole idea that other than going through the checkpost, you can do whatever you want. It's a bit wacky races. It could be absolutely brilliant, but the dust cloud ruined it.
Yeah, sorry, Alan. Yeah.
So they're going to raise awareness of other types of countryside and places which house endangered species and stuff by driving across them, are they? It just seems a bit weird. I'm sorry. It's cool. The vehicles look great. The idea is good. I like electric racing and EVs and stuff. But it does seem to say, well, look, we've got this habitat, it's endangered, so we're going to drive all over it. It's just a bit, even to me, that seems a little strange.
I know. If you read the press stuff and everything, they kind of put the case forward for why they're doing it to raise this awareness. But it's still, to the person on the street or just flicking through TV channels, it doesn't come across at all like they're doing it for the good of the planet, does it?
But cool ship.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, so what we'll do before we start talking about the theme of the week, so a lot of you guys will be aware of this, some might not be. Bradley, what we need to do with you is the track day own scrap wheels. I'm not sure if you've ever seen a ZoomZoomers before. I'll assume that you haven't, and explain what we need to do here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up a screen, and on it there'll be a wheel, like a wheel of fortune. I'll spin it 3 times, and that'll give you 3 different cars. You then have to choose which one you're going to take on a track, which one you get to keep for the rest of your life, and which one's going to go on the scrap heap. So if you guys can do the usual thing of putting your thumbs up if you see the track day own scrap wheel in front of you. Thanks, Alan. Thanks.
If this comes up as 3 supercars, this could get awkward. You know that.
This is it. Yeah, he's the supercar guy, isn't he? So there's quite a few supercars on there. I mean, we've got everything from the Ford Supervan to pretty much every supercar's on. So Bradley, we're going to spin this 3 times. When it spins, the small picture you see there will come up larger, but I'll still say what it is because I'm not sure how clear they are on the internet. So the first one isn't really a supercar. I get to see it a couple of seconds before you guys, but it's still a sporty little number. So we're going to start off with a racing Puma, a Ford Racing Puma. That's your first one. So I'll remove that from the list. And the second car in your quiver is a Metro 6R4. A bit of Group B madness for you. And the third car is a Nismo version of the GTR. So you have a Ford Racing Puma, a Metro 6R4, and a Nismo GTR. So one you have to take on a track day, one you have to own, and one you can scrap.
Okay. Let's go with Oh, it's interesting. The interesting thing, actually, which I noticed about the Ford was it's parked on the forecourt of Aston Martin Bristol. So
All right.
I wonder who took that picture. One of my friends works there, so I wonder if it's come from him. I had a Puma a long time ago, so I definitely would scrap that one. So that one's easy.
So the Ford Racing Puma goes in the bin, leaves you the Metro 6R4 and the Nismo.
I think I'll tell you the reason why I'd keep one over the other. I think just for sheer thrill. I think without taking values into consideration, is the Metro's got to be the track one, because a friend of mine's has been on very recently and just said, look, they're just the best things to have a track in or a ride in, but maybe not to keep, because you probably want to drive that forever. And the interesting fact about Dr. Andy Palmer was the Nismo GTR only appeared in UK because of him. It was his project, and he also brought the Nissan. He pioneered the Nissan Leaf, and then his next project was which one did he do first? Because one probably had to help the environment against the other one being launched, didn't it? But he actually brought the Nismo GTR into the country with his deal with working for Nissan, and they basically said he would own one as well. So that was his project to push into the country. So I'd probably that Nismo car, I've never driven one, driven a standard GTR, but that looks pretty cool, and you can get your shopping in it. So that's what it
Sounds good to me. So you take the Metro on a track, or I suppose we could perhaps be a bit lenient about the definition of track, but basically off-road.
Cool,
yeah. Well, you take it where you like, but just for a day, and then you get to keep the Nissan. So that's all right. That's worked out all right for you.
And just a quick observation by me. Do you guys have a weekly competition who has the biggest headphones? Because Craig is absolutely smashing throughout the park tonight. So
I've actually bought some new headphones in the past couple of months, so maybe these ones are different, and a new microphone as well. So it's like bigger headphones, bigger microphones, like every few months at the moment.
It's great because Craig out microphones and out headphones me tonight, which is good.
Yeah. Craig's a really small head, or they are literally the biggest headphones I've ever seen in my life.
Well, anyone who's ever met me in person, so that's Damien basically, will know that I'm not very tall. So I mean, you can make judgments on my head size based off of that.
Yeah. I don't think that's too much of a factor in your big headphones looking large, but you're looking like you're full of the equipment there. Is that because you're doing more of this kind of podcasting yourself, or are you on Twitch, or what's going on? Or
I'd love to try streaming on Twitch. It's something on the to-do list for sure. I think it's more, I wanted something that's more noise cancelling, considering that I live underneath a flight path. So I wanted something a bit better for that, and I saw a microphone that was like fairly cheap, and thought, well, get another one. Always good to have a backup, isn't it? Especially in times like these. So I thought, well, get another one, and that's better. Yeah, better. Hopefully, better for podcasting and all that sort of malarkey.
I always want to know what Damien's actual background is, because we just see the ZoomZoomers like background. I always want to know what.
Because I've actually just got a screen up. Hang on, this is technology. Give me a second. I can figure this out. I know what I'm doing. If I just turn it off, how do I do that? It's just that because I put a screen up. But beyond the screen, I don't know if you can see. There's various there's a simulator there at the moment, but yeah, just normal stuff. I'll put that back on because.
Can I just say, I think one week you should bring Janet into things.
I should. For those of you who don't know, Janet is the world's smallest Labrador, and she's very cute. I'll bring her on at some point. I promise. You won't see her. She could pop up one day. You just see these two little eyes in the black background. Okay, we'll move on to the before we do red green questions, we'll talk about the theme of the month. So like I say, some of you may have had a chance to think about this. Sorry if you haven't, but it was based on an article that Lewis Kingston, who often pops up in these things, he put out about big luxury cars and that kind of thing. So the task was, if you had to choose a luxury car, which I'm saying has at least 5 seats, at least 5 seats and 8 cylinders, a luxury car from 1970 to 1999, what would you go for? So I'm going to pick kind of random to start off with. I'm going to go for Ben. Have you had a chance to think of this, or has this been sprung on you at the last minute?
I have had plenty of time to think about this.
Okay.
And I chose something with more than 8 cylinders. Is that allowed?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, at least 8.
Cool. So I know you're all expecting me to pick a BMW, which is what I usually do. And I kind of sort of did, but didn't, because I picked the Alpina B12, which is based on the E38. And it came with either a 5.7 litre V12 engine or a 6 litre. And it had a badge known as ECAT on the back of it, which just means it has catalytic converters. So it's not actually very interesting. So it's kind of weird. Maybe it's a German requirement. I don't know. But basically, it had a modified version of the 750 IL V12 motor, or M73, I think it was. And it produced about 430 horsepower. And it got, obviously, the usual smashing with Alpina badges, Alpina chin spoiler, pinstriping on the side. But they only built 202, so it makes it quite rare. And only 7 made it to the UK, apparently, in right-hand drive, according to the internet, which might be wrong because it's on the internet. Having only ever driven one Alpina before, I just think they're just achingly cool. Right. And they're like so comfortable. Most comfortable BMW I've ever driven that wasn't actually a BMW. So, yeah.
And what sort of era was that, though? Was that, are we talking like 90s for that?
It was based on the E38, so 94 through to 99.
Okay, nice one. An Alpina B12. So apologies if anyone else has got that on as their choice. We'll go Richard next.
Okay, I would choose the Audi A8, I think. 4.2 V8 Quattro. Primarily because it had aluminium body. Porsche helped design the gearbox. Only 300 horsepower though, so not hugely powerful. And it did look a little bit bland, I suppose, but
yeah, but that's the appeal of it, wasn't it? It was supposed to look a bit kind of under the radar.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I choose. It had double glazing, weighed 40% less than a steel body would. And in my book here that I've got in front of me, it says that it failed to make the car of the year in 1994. The vote going to the Mondeo, the Polo, and the Amiga, of all things.
Wow.
So it came behind all three. Outrunning Citroen XMs and Peugeot 605 3-litre V6s as well.
Is that from a film or something, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Only if it's got nitrous, or however it's mispronounced.
That's right. What colour is the boathouse at Hereford? That's right.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, what's your choice then, Chris?
I wrote down 4. Is that greedy? Am I allowed?
Well, go for your favourite, and then we'll come back to you if we think that if you say that they haven't been taken by other people. So pick one for now.
Okay, I'll go. It's a bit of a weird one, typical me. I've gone for a Brabus K8, which is based on the Mercedes W211 E55, but they got rid of the weedy little supercharged V8 and instead got a 530 brake horsepower version with 551 pound-feet of torque. Could do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.3 seconds, and was electronically limited to 320 kilometers an hour, which is 198.83 miles an hour, because nobody made any tires that could handle a 2-ton vehicle doing more than that.
Well, and they called it the Brabus Kate.
K8.
That says Kate.
Kate.
If I saw that as an 8-year-old kid, I'd go, Kate.
Of course, it was replaced by the K9, which was even worse.
I hear it was a bit of a dog, yeah.
Oh, very good. All right then, Neil, you've stepped up to the plate here. What's your one?
Well, I had a reflex response, and then I remembered what I'd forgotten.
Right.
So
okay.
I am going to give them both because I don't think that anybody's going to have chosen my reflex response. My reflex response was the Maserati Quattroporte 4. The 90s Gandini designed Maserati Quattroporte. That was my reflex response. And then I remembered what I'd forgotten and a little bit of internal debate, and the other car won.
Okay.
It's the Lancia Thema 8.32.
Oh, okay.
And now you've all remembered that you'd forgotten it as well. For anybody who doesn't know, it was the Lancia Thema, but with a Ferrari V8 in it. The engine basically out of the Ferrari 308 or 328. 308.
328.
No, 328. It was a 3.2. Was it?
Hence the 8.
It was a 3.2, which was from the 328, but it was slightly different from the one that was actually in the Ferrari. It didn't have anything like as much power as the one that was actually in the Ferrari. Whisper it wasn't actually any quicker than the 4-cylinder 2-litre turbo Thema that cost about a quarter as much, if not less. But that was to miss the point. It was a Lancia Thema, and when you open the bonnet, there's a Ferrari V8 underneath, and it had a pop-up rear spoiler as well, which was back in like the mid-late 80s was really quite something. I remember going to see one just around the corner from my school. Maybe LA remembers this. There was it's probably still there. There was some kind of
just don't say where I live on air.
No, Manchester. There was a posh car dealer where you'd always find Ferraris and Lamborghinis and all kinds of stuff like that. And kind of the school bus went past it, and there was one time where I got to school, I kind of ran around the corner, not to see a F40 and not to see a Countach, but because there was a Lancia Thema 8.32 there, and I wanted to have a good look at the pop-up rear spoiler that it had.
Where was that? Where was that showroom?
Kind of near Didsbury, that kind of area. Of Withington, Didsbury kind of area. That kind of.
LA was perhaps over in California or something in those days, or Detroit, or wherever you've been. I lose track of what your life history is, but
you start. I got enough friends going at me for all my travel stories. Like, please, I've been stuck in my house for 3 years. Give me something.
We see a map of the world over your shoulder there. It's just like you're just going to start throwing a dart at it and going, "Oh, I'm going to Somalia." Yeah,
it's one of them where you rub out as well. With
is it?
With the coin.
Is there anything left on it?
No, there is. There's loads. But I like how I've been to like just Moscow airport, but I've rubbed out all of Russia.
All of Russia. It counts. It counts. That's cool. Joe, how about your car of the month then?
So, as you might expect, I'm going to revert to type and choose a Pontiac. I don't know. Has anyone seen this film, The 7-Ups?
No, I thought they were cans of drink.
It's one of those sort of 70s quite gritty car chase films, and the car chase involves two Pontiacs, which is quite strange because they're both Pontiacs that people have never heard of. One of them is a rebadged Chevrolet. Not interested in that one because it's a small sort of compact car, but the other one is this thing, which is a 1973 Pontiac Grandville. The full-size Pontiacs of that era are mostly miss rather than hit, but that one really floats my boat. So that's one that's on my list to own one day, but probably not in the UK because I think it might just be a little bit big, being a full-size American. Either 400 or 455 V8.
Blimey.
But yeah, I do recommend this film if anybody wants to see it. It really shows New York in the 70s of how cold and gritty it can be. So yeah, recommend the film. Excellent.
Cool. I'm going to skip you, Craig, because I know that you've just come in last minute, so I doubt you've got one to hand. LA, have you had a chance to think of one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know me, I always go stateside with these kind of things these days, or most times. I'm not a fan of sedans, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it's the least appealing car that I've ever seen. So I initially struggled with this, and then realized as I started typing in like the American cars that I've been in one that I did actually really like. So when I lived in America, I lived with a family in Ohio, and their parents came over. and they were doing a wonderful road trip from Chicago down to Florida, where they had 2 homes, very posh people. So they were in a very luxurious Lincoln car, a town car, and we went out for brunch one day, and they put me in this car with them, and it was a bench seat at the front, which I absolutely loved. I'd seen these on films and I'd never been in one and seen one before. And just as a lovely smushy memory is I didn't know these people very well, and the mother was known to have been a bit awkward, and I was a bit nervous about this, and she was so lovely, and we kind of like bonded on this bench seat in this Lincoln sedan, in this town car. So I kind of looked it up a little bit, and I don't know their exact one, but there's a couple that float around sort of late 80s, early 90s, and it was very much probably one of those. 8-cylinder, horsepower, absolutely rubbish though, 150 horsepower, automatic. Wow. I think it was 4-speed automatic. Biggest thing about these cars was the interior. You know, they were just so plush, and it was a beautiful one of the red ones, so the beautiful red leather interior that you used to get. But as a bit of an interesting thing about the fact that it wasn't a fast car, it'd take 11.1 seconds to get to 60, but it took 11.9 to get to 100. So it somehow would grab 40 miles an hour.
I reckon that's kilometers an hour. That maybe they're showing a 0 to 60 mile an hour or a 0 to 100 kilometers an hour.
I don't know. I've got this information off a website, the same website. It's in the same sentence. It's from.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
right.
I've grabbed it from there. So without a bit more research, I'd perhaps, maybe someone else.
I think we need to get one of these cars and a drag strip.
But do you imagine though, if you going along like, come on, get up, and then you eventually get to 60, and then the next minute you're pinned back in your seat, getting up to 100.
Yeah, it seems unlikely, doesn't it? I reckon there's been a bit of a metric imperial confusion thing going on there. So
possibly. But that's my car. That's the one. That's the Lincoln, and I've been in it, so I can choose it. I'm allowed.
That's fine. You didn't have to have been in it, but yep, we would definitely take your word for it if you're that experienced in it. Ian, have you managed to find one for this month?
Yeah, I'm gonna slightly cheat. Well, I was gonna say sleep. I'm gonna take the V8 bit of that sentence. So obviously, at the moment, my phone is now just locked up all of a sudden. That's great, isn't it? Right. So obviously we've got my Chevette, which is available in a number of different body versions. So generally it's the HSR, which is well known for, which is it going around with the red top engine in the Andrews Heat for Hire livery, going sideways with many lights, and in that livery as well, in the silver livery, but also over abroad, and I think over in Australia particularly, they were used as drag racing cars,
right?
As well. So you've actually got them because they're rear wheel drive. It just becomes a bit of a drag car as well, and you can drop Nissan S14, 15 engines into them as well. So. There is a Chevette going slightly sideways as well.
This looks like your wish list for your one.
This is what I'm showing the team at Vital going. I want my car to do this.
Yeah, I want this one, please.
I want this one, please. But please don't damage bodywork, because that's costing a fortune.
So you've looked at the criteria and said, right, it has to have 5 seats and 8 cylinders, and so you've just run with that and gone, well, this technically fits the bill.
Technically, look at that one. Look at the engine in that. That's hilarious.
Well, in it, you say in it.
Kind of. Well, they've kind of put a car around the engine, I would say. And I like
very good.
This is like the spoiler now with the rear window kind of poking out the back. So yeah, I've kind of cheated a little bit, but
that's cool.
V8 engined Chevettes, I think, is a good thing. And that'll be me in a few months' time, hopefully, maybe-ish, kind of.
Brad, you were going to say something about the Chevette.
Yeah, did you say? Oh, I'm not sure. I missed something here. But did you say it had to be a luxury car in the Vis V8 thing?
Well,
like,
all I've said is how I'm defining a luxury car is that it has 5
oh,
seats.
okay. I was thinking if Ian thinks that's a luxury car, what does he actually drive?
Well, I mean, with the body, the cost of the bodywork, it's definitely a luxury car with the amount of money the bodywork's costing. So
yeah, no, of course. I mean, there's a luxury items where you don't actually physically need, but you want, which would technically fall into that category. But some people also think a luxury car is something that's like lots of leather and lambswool carpets and that sort of stuff. So thinking that's where the confusion was.
No, that's fine. He's taken my definition of luxury very literally. I should have perhaps been a bit more specific, but actually, I kind of hoped this sort of thing was going to happen.
Yeah, no,
Especially I mean, we've still got Alan to go to, so I'm not sure how sane Alan's one's going to be.
It is me, so it's
It
relatively sane. So my original knee-jerk reaction to this was Maserati Quattroportes, like Nia. So, which I don't know if it's great minds or whatever.
Sorry, Alan.
Yeah, that's okay. No, it's fine because I decided somebody would take that.
Wow, okay.
And I'm sick of everyone pinching mine. So I thought what we actually want is a little bit of Italian style and Giorgetto Giugiaro, and you really want that sort of British Jaguarness about it. So I chose the Lexus GS 400. Which started out from the Jaguar Kensington concept by Ital Design. And you could get that with a GS 400. I mean, most of them were 300 or the 300V, which had the twin turbo inline 6 2JZ, blah, blah, blah. But no, the GS 400 was a 4-litre V8 one. I didn't choose the 400. I didn't choose the LS 400 because I figured that was too easy for someone else to guess as well. So yeah, so I took its stylish little brother.
Good, that's cool. You've gone for something quite obscure there. Before we check in with Chris and just see if he's got any left on the shelf there, Brad. I know this again. You've been last minute on this, but I don't suppose you've got one that you might be able to throw into the mix. If not, don't worry. I'm sure Chris has got a few more.
I think working out what you've been talking about now, I actually took the luxury concept as the lambswool carpets and all that sort of stuff. And me and my dad joint owned a Bentley 8, which is a 1991 car. It was probably the worst car Bentley made, I believe. It was the affordable Bentley, but very, very special and an incredible experience and the craftsmanship and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, technically listen to the word luxury. I kind of took that literally as well in a different way and pick on that. But yeah, stomping your feet into those carpets while sort of wafting along without hearing the engine moving and making a sound and stuff was probably my choice there.
Absolutely, and a bit of a bargain probably nowadays as well. Well, I don't know if they've kind of reached their pivot point and are now kind of starting to get up towards 20 grand again, but there was a time when you could get one for under 10.
Yes, yeah. I can't remember what we paid for us, but I think I only had 11,000 miles on it, which was it was a bit of a time capsule. Just by fluke, it'd been kept in underground in Mayfair for like 20 years and done. Its mileage was going to and from the service centre every year because I don't think the owner actually used it. So we managed to get quite lucky with that car. So it was sort of getting a 30-year-old car almost for that looked like it only was 5 years. So we were very, very fortunate.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Excellent. Thanks for that. So, Chris, has everything been taken, or have you still got a few left?
Well, I'll give you two. I got. You know me. When there's one of these, I can pull them out and get like the interesting thing. So, one I thought of was Mercedes-Benz 500e, which was if you know your cars, it was a collaboration with Porsche. And that had a 5-litre V8 and Porsche worked on it. And it was supposed to be, at the time, like the ultimate performance Mercedes-Benz. So that was another one that I thought of. I also had an Alpina. I had the B10, which was based on the 39 5 series. So instead of having the 4-litre V8, they had made it a 4.6. But the one that I didn't think anyone else would have, and I kind of twisted the rules slightly, was, has anyone heard of Beecham Jaguars? It's a company based in New Zealand that they take the Jaguar Mark II from the 60s and then kit it out with a brand new 5-litre supercharged V8 from the F-Type. They give it the 8-speed gearbox, double wishbone suspension all round, AP discs, cruise control, parking sensors, 14-way electric seats,
Is that from the
touchscreen
90s?
navigation.
Is this from
But
the
it looks
90s, Chris?
no. It's kind of I'm twisting it. So you've got a Jaguar Mark II that looks like a Jaguar Mark II with the wire wheels and the bigger bumpers and all of that. Looks like a 3.8 Mark II. Looks perfect from the outside, but underneath it's basically F-Type R running gear, and it can do like 170 plus miles an hour, but looks like a 1960s Mark II Jag. They're over £100,000. Look them up. They're amazing. Beecham Jaguar Mark II. That's my.
Yeah, we could allow engine swaps. Otherwise, Ian's was completely rubbish. So I think that's fine. It's just whether we said 1970 to 99, and so I think we have to find an Mark II that was manufactured in early 70 or something like that.
Last Mark II, I think, is 68.
So one that was in the factory and hadn't been registered until they got round to it on the 1st of January 1970. All right, we'll let you have it, because why not? Hey, why not?
I just want to say that, yeah, I did reread that, for anyone that's watching, and just to say that you were right, DC, that I just slightly misread it with not having my glasses are in a safe place. So
no massive 40 mile an hour
shove. Imagine it'd be a good facelift, wouldn't it?
It'd be incredible. Trying to keep it around 60 mile an hour and just go, oh no, I'm doing 100 again.
But yeah, it says
I'm not sure the fact that it takes 0.8 seconds to get from 60 miles an hour to 62 miles an hour is any less shocking.
That must be just where it changes gear at the same time or something like that. It's just wow. Well,
what about yesterday when I was on my new roller boots? I definitely went from 0 to 40 in 0.8 seconds. As my hands will tell you, my badly bruised hands and arms and wrists. I was going very, very fast.
I spotted some Instagram pictures of you like on your skates, and that took me back. I lived in a village, weirdly, where the only thing that was there was a corner shop and a skating rink, a roller skating rink. And growing up, I just assumed all villages had skating rinks, even though it was quite a rare thing. So the parents didn't go to the pub, they went to the skating rink because they had a bar there. So yeah, I just assumed that everyone knew how to roller skate as a kid, because that was the only thing that we had in our village. Anyway, off topic. So before we finish, because I know we're over 9 o'clock as always, we'll do a bit of red green. So Brad, you won't know about this. If you have something to hand which is red and something which is green, then go grab them. Don't worry if you haven't. You can just give thumbs up for green or yes, and thumbs down for no. So what we do, I chuck a few things at you and you vote either red or green, or if you want, you can just do thumbs up and thumbs down. There's not loads on here because we've actually covered a few of these during the Zoom so far. So the first one, actually, I might as well just chuck them in anyway. So the first one I've got here is the Volkswagen joke backfired.
David, what do you have to do with red and green, by the way?
So sorry, if you agree with the statement, then it's green, but you can give the thumbs up if you prefer. So because I've said the Volkswagen joke backfired, people are agreeing, they're saying yes, whereas Near, he believes actually, he disagrees.
Well, it was all about getting publicity and raising awareness of the fact that they're now selling electric cars. So it didn't backfire at all.
Didn't backfire. Cool. Okay. Next one. It's based on, if you guys have got around to seeing yesterday's Top Gear. They did midlife crisis cars, or what they called midlife opportunity cars. So the question is, or the statement is, I've already had my midlife crisis car. Craig, understandably, no. Oh, Alan, are you admitting that your silly little Toyota?
Oh yeah, that one is, yeah. So,
can we do that one time? Can we have our midlife crisis car as a
yeah, we could do that as a theme. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay.
I hopefully will get mine soon.
Oh, okay. Well, if Caterham goes bust and they sell off all the stock, is that okay. Next one. I've already eaten all my Easter eggs. I'm assuming, Ben, that the orange is that red, or is that in between the two?
I've lost my red car, so I can't
find it.
So look at Ian's got a cute flower. It's a
carnation.
carnation.
You could just bring the camera closer to himself.
Oh, that's my connection to my camera's a bit loose there, so sorry if I keep fizzling out. Okay, next one. Okay, obviously more announcements from the government. So next one is I'll be going to the pub next week. Sorry to Near, because I'm not sure what the rules are over there, but over here in the UK, Monday next week is when.
Depends how stressful the next week's going to be, I guess. So I'm going to.
Oh yeah,
it will be.
I'm not going to a pub. I'm going to every pub.
Fair enough. Okay, next one. I've booked a haircut.
Yes, next week. Oh.
You got one in the first week, LA. Well done, you.
I actually I got it in about a month ago because there were rumours for next week. Anyway, so it's already in. Look at my roots.
No, but you can bet I'll be trying to book online after this now.
I've been going bald since I was 16. I haven't like had a different haircut from this since then. I basically
the money you've saved. Dashing blades for you, Ian.
Absolutely. That's when you have friends who are barbers. Absolutely. Because at the moment you could turn my head up. You could turn my head upside down, and it'd be the same, pretty much.
Very good. Okay, the next one is I watched the Extreme E event. So I'm not sure if we sort of covered that earlier, but let's see how many actually watched it. Okay, next one. So this one's a bit different. So green, if you think Max Verstappen, and red if you think Lewis Hamilton. Who's going to do better? Green for Max, red for Lewis. So who's going to do better in F1 this year? So red for Lewis, green for Max. Okay, okie dokie. What's that? That's green for you, Near, isn't it?
It's green. It doesn't necessarily mean that I think he's going to win the championship. But I think he drove better in the first race. He screwed up at the end. There's going to be a season this year. I think he's going to do better than expected, even if Hamilton ultimately takes it, which he probably will. The fact that Hamilton's going to be fighting right to the end, and I think he is, means he's doing better.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, 2 more to go. So I will be going to car shows in the summer. Oh, Ian. You kind of got to.
Earn the money. Got to earn the money.
So LA and Craig, no, but the rest of you, okie dokie. And the final one, I will be displaying a car at a car show in the summer. Okay. Oh, still good fair amount. Near, what's going on there? He's realised. Oh, is this about one of your projects you can't talk about? That right? Okay. Excellent. Oh, thanks for that, guys. After 5 weeks of no ZoomZoomers, it's felt like we're slotted straight back in. And it's never changed. So it's been really, really good to chat to you guys. But before we wrap up, because Craig's back finally after all this time, we could actually end on a Craig's fact of the month. I'm guessing it's about Formula One, Craig.
Yeah. The other week, I've lost track of weeks now. Whenever the Bahrain Grand Prix was a couple of weekends ago, we did have several rookie drivers on the grid. We had Mick Schumacher, we had Yuki Tsunoda, and we had the other one. And I thought Yuki Tsunoda was absolutely brilliant. He's the smallest driver on the grid, standing at 5'1" or something like that. So he's the shortest F1 driver in a very, very long time, possibly ever. And he was mightily impressive in Formula 2 last year. I thought he was the best driver on the grid as a rookie last year, and he's already impressing in Formula 1. He took points on his debut, which is the first time that a driver has taken points on his debut since Stoffel van Dorn back in 2016 at Bahrain. Wow. Funnily enough. It wasn't like a perfectly clean weekend for Tsunoda. He had a bit of a scruffy qualifying, and he was a little bit passive at times in the races. But there were times where he was talking about how he sort of sat behind Fernando Alonso for a couple of laps and then just sent it down the inside once he learned what he was doing and all that sort of stuff. So very, very clever young kid, absolutely lovely as well. From the time that I've interacted with him in the past as well. Must be a short person thing, clearly. But yeah, Tsunoda, he's definitely one to watch this year. He's possibly going to be Japan's greatest F1 driver ever.
And a great advert for Formula 2, because if people feel they've already missed that kind of a drive from somebody like him, then they could very well tune into the other series anyway. So there we go.
Have to get the Formula 2 in, don't you, LA? Well done. Well, we'll keep an eye on Inside F2, of course. And Brad, thanks ever so much for coming along. We'll definitely keep an eye on SCC and the Twitter handle that we're going to go and follow it at SCC Private Club. We'll try and make sure that we get plenty of people following that to keep an eye on what you're up to. Thanks ever so much for coming along.
I'll post them on the ZoomZoomers social for you. So SCC will be shared on our social media channels. So if you want to follow what Brad's doing, they'll all be up on there.
Thank you.
Great, thanks.
I'll just say about the red and green car idea, or the red and green item that Chris messaged me to grab something. I thought I'd be really original and have actual model cars, and every single person has an actual model car. So I'm glad I had a model car now.
I didn't. I had a helmet.
Yeah, you've got your Old Spice helmet.
Yeah, and the Brute.
And the Brute one, yeah.
I've got Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons.
Yeah,
it was pretty tame this month. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've had some interesting red greens in the past. That's for sure.
You know what? For the next one, who fancies coming up with the questions for the next one? If someone wants to be really brutal, stick your hand in the air. Or actually, if have a think, and if you fancy doing red green questions, get in touch with me on Twitter via the DMs or something like that, and then I'll hand over the reins to someone else for the next one. It might be interesting to see. Because I know, LA, you've done a few in the past and they've been completely mad.
So if you want a mad one, then come to me. But if you want a sensible one, then ask everybody else.
Well, maybe we could do it so that everyone that comes along has to then ask a red-green question for everybody else. How about that? So we kind of keep it open. Everyone brings a red-green question along. And the theme of the week, what did you mention earlier? The LA, you said something
about midlife crisis. Yeah, thanks, Nia. I'd forgotten as well.
So we'll think of some criteria for that. What defines a midlife crisis car? I'm not sure precisely what Top Gear said it was, but we'll figure something out. But yeah, that'll be the theme for the next one then, which will be on the 3rd of May, which is 4 weeks today, I guess. Yes, because it's it's not a 5 week gap next one. So four weeks until the next one. If you're watching along live or if you're watching back on YouTube, then please make sure you give this a like and subscribe to us for more of the same as well. Feel free to leave a comment as well if you've got any opinions of what we've been speaking about today. Stuff we've missed. We've bound to have missed loads of great luxury cars. And then until next time, we will enjoy thinking about midlife crisis cars, and we'll see you again at 8 p.m. on Monday, the 3rd of May.